One of the children got out of the car, walked over to a neighbor's door, knocked on that door, frightened, told the neighbor she was looking for her parents. That neighbor called police. The people we talked to say the couple was apartment hunting. I'm here at the Michoud Boulevard exit. My photographer's camera light is on, but if he turns it off, you can barely see me and the roadway. Police say a SWAT team is trying to negotiate with the suspect to get him out of that home unharmed. It's just one big amazing party here in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Business owners and neighbors say they need more information about this project before they can support it. And tonight a public hearing will help answer some of their questions. Neighbors say they're finding handwritten letters inside of their mailbox. And since the envelope doesn't have a return address, some people think it's a scam. In most cases, police say someone torched furniture using some type of accelerant. And in this case, it was chairs. And right next door, it was a couch. Willie Muhammad is tired of crime in New Orleans. He's fighting back through a group called the New Orleans Peacekeepers.
This group began in 2009 after the death of a 2-year-old boy who was murdered by his father because he felt that he couldn't pay child support.
Members work to resolve violence before it happens by mediating conflicts in the streets and high crime areas.
Well, we were asking for men, black men in particular, to give up 1 hour on a Saturday to walk through these neighborhoods that are considered to be hotspots.
But even with groups like the Peacekeepers, crime continues to rise in the city. WDSU obtained internal NOPD documents that show an increase from last year in violent crimes, with murder and rape in the double digits citywide. But if you look closely, it's the 2nd district that's driving the spike. There, the murder rate in rape cases increased by 150% or more. Criminologist John Penny says you don't need statistics to tell you crime is up. You just have to listen for the police sirens.
Kind of project what is going to happen from observation, research, given the fact that we have not done some of the things to abate crime.
Dr. Penny stresses the NOPD cannot solve the problem alone.
The community has to get involved. The police department, as well intended as they might be, cannot solve this crime problem.
Getting actively involved is exactly what some neighbors like Muhammad plan to do.
What we're planning to do is come with solutions.
And offer solutions in an effort to trim crime in a city plagued by violence.
Yes, we have.
Chris San Marcos' neighborhood in Old Araby is nice and quiet.
No robberies, no burglaries, no problems.
He credits his Neighborhood Watch program for steering away criminals.
I think the Neighborhood Watch has helped to curb crime in this neighborhood because everybody looks out for each other.
It's a message echoed by St. Bernard Parish Sheriff's Office.
We need the Neighborhood Watch groups, the Nosy Rosies, to be mindful of who's in their neighborhood, what they're up to.
Captain Charles Borges says neighbors who report suspicious activity help catch criminals, just like the arrest of 8 New Orleans men for burglary and theft in St. Bernard Parish back in January. Their arrest stopped a major ring of vehicle thieves, but the sheriff's office says deputies are in need of more support from local communities. Before Katrina, there were at least 150 Neighborhood Watch programs in St. Bernard Parish. That number has drastically declined to 67. The sheriff's department is hoping tonight's meeting will encourage more neighbors to get involved.
And the meeting tonight is just for that, to try to bring everybody together to reestablish some of the old neighborhood watches that we maybe haven't heard from for a while.
Borges hopes these neighbors turn into the eyes and ears the community needs.
People can look out for each other, they get to know each other personally, and if somebody's in a neighborhood that doesn't belong, they can pick it up really quick.
Occupy NOLA protesters were kicked out of Duncan Plaza, removed from a vacant lot in Central City. And now they're occupying empty land on a net in the 7th Ward.
You know, it's just sitting here getting cut every couple weeks, nothing really doing with it. So we figured we'd come in and we'd occupy.
Protesters say the owner is allowing them to camp out in exchange for their labor. But some neighbors haven't welcomed the group with open arms.
It's unsanitary. If I have to pay $600 to $900 rent, can't you get 4 or 5 of them to rent a house around here and all of them stay in it?
Everybody around here is against this. Everybody.
Derek Millier started a petition to have them removed.
We're going to bring it to City Hall or do whatever we have to do to get rid of it.
The group left this sign behind after being ousted from this vacant lot behind the Gus housing development. Police say they didn't have permission to be here, but that's not the case this time.
Well, I'm their landlord, and they pay me by doing work in my house, and I'm sorry if anybody doesn't like that.
Since the lot is private property and the protesters aren't breaking any laws, police say they have the right to be there.
I don't care if it is private property. The city should come out here and do something about it.
However, neighbors are plotting to have Occupy NOLA occupy somewhere other than their neighborhood. On your side in the 7th Ward, Tiffaney Bradley, WDSU News. From WDSU Exact Weather, News, and Traffic, here are today's headlines. In your news from overnight, a 60-year-old woman was killed after an accident in the Lower Garden District. It happened on the corner of Jackson and Chapatulas just after 10 o'clock last night. This is video of the scene. Police say 45-year-old Stephen Wallace was speeding down Jackson Avenue when his van struck another vehicle traveling on Chapatulas. A woman died at the scene, and Wallace is in stable condition at the hospital. He will be booked with manslaughter once he's released. And happening today, just as the LSU Interim Hospital plans to cut dozens of beds from their mental health department. Another mental health facility is opening in the Crescent City today. Green Path will be located in the 400 block of South Broad Street. The ribbon cutting ceremony is today from 11 to 1. Also happening today, the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education wants you to come out to a local meeting. The board will be meeting at Walter Cohen High School at 6 o'clock tonight to go over education issues that are important to parents in New Orleans. They plan to talk about the charter application process and hear from the Coalition for Community Leadership in Education. With 100% of the precincts reporting, former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney is the winner of the Arizona and Michigan primaries. Rick Santorum placed a strong second in both states, while Newt Gingrich placed a low third in Arizona, only to fall in last place in Michigan behind Ron Paul. It may have been a clean sweep for Mitt Romney last night, but it was close. Tracy Potts is in D.C. this morning with more on the results from last night's primaries in Arizona and Michigan. And those are the headlines from WDSU. Stay tuned for your local forecast from WDSU Exact Weather, News, and Traffic. From WDSU Exact Weather, News, and Traffic, here are today's headlines. Happening today, a visitation and memorial service will be held for a Good Samaritan murdered in front of his 2 children. Mike Ainsworth was shot to death in Algiers when he tried to help a woman who was being carjacked. Today's visitation will take place at the St. Louis Cathedral from 9 until 11 a.m. A memorial service will follow. Donations to help Ainsworth's family can be made at any Whitney bank. And happening today in Covington, the 3rd teenager in the Lakeshore High shooting plot will be in court, but since the murder charge has been dropped, this will be a closed trial. Yesterday, the Covington District Attorney and Sheriff issued a statement saying the investigation found that there wasn't enough evidence to charge 16-year-old Daniel Hopkins for a crime of violence. The other 2 boys in the case, Jacob Keller and Todd Singleton, have already admitted their roles in the plot. And we have an important traffic closure you need to know about this weekend. Starting tomorrow at 10 p.m., you will not be able to drive on the Huey P. Long Bridge. The Huey P. will be closed in both directions from Saturday, February 4th at 10 p.m. until Sunday, February 5th at noon. The right lanes on the bridge will stay closed an additional 12 hours until midnight Sunday. The completed Huey P. Long Bridge widening project will include 3 11-foot lanes in each direction, featuring 8-foot outside and 2-foot inside shoulders. The entire project is scheduled to be finished in 2013. And the countdown to kickoff is on Sunday. The New England Patriots and the New York Giants will go head-to-head in Super Bowl 46. And NBC's Tracy Potts is on your side from Indianapolis for a sneak peek of the action. And of course, the Super Bowl is right here on WDSU. Sunday coverage begins during the Today Show and continues throughout the day. Kickoff is around 5:30. And those are your headlines from WDSU. Stay tuned for your local forecast on WDSU Exact Weather, News, and Traffic.